This is Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com. I'm also the author of this book, Quantum Jumps: An Extraordinary Science of Happiness and Prosperity. And today, I'm here to talk to you about how you can flourish with the placebo effect. If you think back to a time when you were a child and your mom or your parent or your caregiver kissed a boo-boo better, maybe you'd skinned your knee or fallen down or something, then that was probably one of your earliest experiences with the placebo effect. The word placebo comes from the Latin, which means I shall please. And in the Middle Ages, this word was used to refer to hired professional mourners. When someone passed away, they would be hired to come and grieve as if that was their own loved one who'd passed away. So this idea of placebo has this fake sense to it. However, that's been changing recently as a great deal of research is coming forward to show that there's something called a placebo effect, and that effect can have a positive impact on your life. And so the first time that this was originally utilized in the field of medicine goes back to a time right after World War II, when a doctor named Henry Beecher was working with injured soldiers after World War II, in the midst of World War II rather, and they needed to get morphine, but there was no morphine to give them. It was short on supply, as a lot of things were rationed in those times. And so with the rations being so short, Henry Beecher's nurse applied saline solution, which is basically salt. And Henry Beecher watched as this soldier basically was able to go through surgery as if he'd received morphine. He was not going into shock, he was not feeling the pain like one would expect someone to do. So he then continued to notice after the war that this effect is pretty powerful, giving saline injections to people and telling them that they should now start feeling better. So that placebo effect has been noticed not just with saline injections, but also with things like sugar pills, which you might have heard of. And this placebo effect has become more and more powerful over time. In fact, Arthur Barsky, director of psychiatric research at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, he notes that the placebo response was about twice as powerful as it was in the 1980s. So what's causing something that was originally envisioned as a way to compare efficacy of real medical treatments like surgery, saline injections, that's not medicine, but morphine, for example, or pills, into something that's working somewhere between 35 to 75% of the time? It's a great question, but the effect is not going unnoticed by doctors, because another survey recently showed that 97% of family physicians have definitely given and prescribed placebos to at least one of their patients. And looking into some of the research as to what's going on, why is this happening, it has to do with your belief. Belief is a big, powerful thing. It's not what you think, it's what you believe. It's something deeper than thought itself. And your belief that you're going to get better, your attitude, does influence how you feel. These are the words of Randy McCabe, director at the Anxiety Treatment and Research Center at St. Joseph's Healthcare in Ontario. And I'd love to tell you about surgery too, because it also works for arthroscopic knee surgery. And Dr. Bruce Mosley, back in 1994, who's the team physician for the Houston Rockets, he observed, much to his surprise, because he was not expecting this result, that people who were first initially given arthroscopic knee surgery in placebo form, in other words, even he didn't know which of these military veterans were going to be getting the just scrub it up, knock them out. So they were given an anesthetic, so the patient was under the effect of anesthesia. Then there was an incision made, the knee was sort of cleaned out possibly, things were done, it looked like something happened, but there was nothing of any medical impact performed. And amazingly, a lot of these people got better, and those improvements lasted for years. So people could play basketball with their grandchildren and so forth. So this has also been noticed, by the way, for another kind of surgery, and that would be for Parkinson's disease. So placebo surgery is extremely powerful for both of those two conditions. And if placebos are so powerful, then what do we know about how they work? This is where it gets into some research being done at the Harvard-affiliated program in placebo studies and the therapeutic encounter. It's called PIPS in Boston, Massachusetts, and millions of dollars are now being spent to find out what's behind this amazing placebo effect, where people are told, and they're given verbal instructions sometimes, for example, for test takers, that they will be seeing the correct answer flashing on the screen in between the multiple choice questions that they're receiving, so they can therefore get a little bit of an edge. So when people were told that, their scores improved. Again, something like 40%. And these are effects that I cover in great detail in my book, Quantum Jumps, because I get into the possible explanation for what is going on. How could we explain something like this placebo effect that's getting stronger and stronger, even when you tell people that they are being given a placebo, which is amazing. So I'd like you to think about how you can make use of this. I talk a little bit more about that in the book Quantum Jumps, because it's full of just dozens of different laboratory-tested, scientifically proven ways you can utilize the power of a lot of this research that's showing that your beliefs can really change the world. So I'd like you to think about that and keep asking, how good can it get? Until next time, this is Cynthia Sue Larson with realityshifters.com. Thanks.